Assalamu alaikum, Adam here, and today we are going to be learning HTML. Please, if you haven't watched the previous video, make sure you do so in order to understand what is going on here. Let's jump right into the video, but I want to show the course outline of what we are going to be covering today in this video. So actually, HTML just means hypertext markup language. Yeah, that's what it means, and we use it to render text, hyperlinks, images and videos on a web page. So here's the course outline. There's nothing that is somehow hard in this place. We have something like introduction, code editors, elements. I'm going to walk you through over all this kind of stuff in a simple way. We have something like links, images, table, list, file paths, and at last we have the project that we are going to be building. That is the e-hospital project. So let me just open the project that we are going to be building. Let me just open my index.html. So this is the project that we are going to be building. Here's the logo, here's the navigation bar with some links, and here is just a video using HTML. Even play. Here's just a micro text, and here is some text of our experts and doctors, and here is some feedback section. So we have some icons over here, but we are going to be using HTML on top of them. So you can even join the membership. So there are a lot of things. Here's just the pricing section, the blog post, our about. So there are a lot of things that we are going to be putting. So I guess that's all. Let's get started. So now the next thing is the introduction. HTML just means hypertext markup language, as I have said before. Maybe I think I'm even done with the introduction. Now let's move on to code editors. So actually, programming is not magic. You don't just start coding and it's work. We use some tools to create that code. So they are what are called code editors, and we have two types of code editors. We have lightweight text editors and we have IDEs. IDE just means integrated development environment, and the difference between these two kind of editors or code editors is IDEs have a lot of features than text editors. A lot of features with something like version control system, autocomplete, something like, you know, switching between different files. So in this course, in this entire course, I'm going to be using Sublime Text for the coding, and for our online hospital project, I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code. So now let's head to the browser and download Sublime Text. So what you will do is just search Sublime Text in the browser. So you will see something like this. Just open the link. You will see download over here, or the download is even here. If you are on Mac, that's Apple, you should use this link. OS X, just hit it. It will what? It will start downloading. You have to make sure that you are not on iOS 10.7 and above. If you are on Windows, you should use this one, 64-bit or 32-bit. And if you are on Linux, whichever distribution you are using, whether Linux or Ubuntu or Mac OS store, you can go for that. I guess that's all. So after you have downloaded, you are going to be seeing something like this. Hit that button and hit that application and install it. So I have already installed it over here and here it is. So for the first time, when you open Sublime Text, you are going to be seeing something like this. So now the next thing that I want to do is what? Create a what? Is to create a folder. So I will open Sublime Text, click on File, click on Open Folder. So as you can see, I have to be in my desktop, click on HTML, then what? Hit that select folder button. So now what do we want to code? We want to code in HTML. So just come over here, this plain text, click on HTML, and that's all. So now hit on your less than key, then HTML. You are going to be seeing some autocomplete. Just hit the autocomplete. So you see some codes pop or comes out, right? Now let me just try and save it before we continue. So let me just hit this save, and you have to make sure you are in that directory. You see here, over here, it's taking me to a different directory. Click on HTML, then here. So I'll give it a name of index.html. This index just means I want to save this file as my home page for my website. Then this .html is just an extension that means we are coding HTML and the browser is going to understand it. So let me just hit save. And for your own stuff, HTML is not a programming language actually. HTML is a markup language. Why? Because HTML lacks logic. That's why it's not a programming language. We have other markup languages, something like XHTML, something like XML, etc. So now let me explain what this code does. This doc type just means document type, and our document type is what HTML version type. If you are using other version of HTML, you should go to the DTD website to specify it over here. And here is just the root element. Here is the opening tag, and here is the what closing tag for HTML. Here is the opening tag for the head tag, and here is the closing tag. So what this does is it gives a lot of information about that specific document, something like title, something like logo, something like, you know, the metadata. We are going to be talking about those. Then here's the body. So what is in the body? Okay, let me just close this file, this application. What is in the body is what is going to be visible in the browser. Let me just type some text, something like pops, hello world, and save it. So if you want to open it in browser, you should right click on this layout, this back layout, and open it in browser. So you see something like hello world. So everything that is here that is in the body is going to be visible over here in the browser, and everything that is in between this head tag, maybe title or icon, is going to be visible over here, and other things are what can't be seen, something like the metadata and what external links. We are going to be coming to that actually. So let me add a little bit of explanation. As I've said, HTML what use tags to work. So this is the opening tag, and this is the what closing tag. You can pass what we call the element element name, and here is the closing tag, element name. You understand? So it is the same thing with all this kind of stuff. When you open something, you have to close it. Something like you see the opening tag for what title, and here is the closing tag. And what I like about HTML is what it is self-descriptive. Yeah, it is self-descriptive. Since this it is title, it just what means title. This is body, it just means what body. So let's continue the next topic. We are done with the introduction on code editors as well. So now let's move on to HTML elements. So we have HTML elements, something like paragraph. When you want to put paragraph, it's just this underscore p, close it, not underscore, sorry, less than, close it, then p. You see this what it gives me an autocomplete. I can just say hello world. Check out the difference. You see the difference, there is some magic, right? So that's just it. So now this gives us what a paragraph. Now let's move on to the next one, which is attributes. So attribute just give us more properties. Yeah, more properties, or add some things to our elements. And attributes are mostly right word in the opening tag, not the closing tag, not the closing tag. So why is our opening tag? This is the what? This is the opening tag of this P element. So I can put something like title. Yeah, title. And what attributes does is that most of the times it has the attribute name and the value, and it is separated with what? With this equal sign. Here is what is the name of the attribute, and here is what we are going to pass the value. So I want to give title to this paragraph. I'll just say, let me just give HW, which means hello world. So now when I mouse over, you are going to be seeing that HW. So this is just the basic of attribute. As we move on, you will get to understand what attributes are. So let me just close this one. So if you add more content and you want to see it updated over here, I forgot to say, let's say P, let me just say P, let me just say H, right, and save it. I do Control S. I don't want to be saving it. It take a lot of my time. So open it in the browser, just hit this refresh button. You see it will get updated. But me, I do use Control R in order to save my time. So the next thing is going to be headings. So we have headings in HTML from H1 to H6. The highest one is H1 and the least one is H6. Let me just give you an overview of how they are. Something like H1. Let me just say I am heading 1. I am heading 1. See how big it is. You see? But for your own information, you have to click on this lot if you don't want to be using Control R. I am heading 1. So let me just try H3. I have skipped H2, right? I'm heading what? I'm heading 3. You see? Oops. You see it is what? It is smaller. And something like H6. I am what? I am heading 6. You see how small it is? So it is the same thing with what, with H4 or H5, something like H2, but I'll just leave it like that. So that's heading. So we can use headings for something like, you know, blog posts, etc. Oh yeah, something like blog post. Let me just give an example with a news platform where we do post news. Now let's see what the fuck is trending is about this corona stuff. So let me just say self-isolation. Yeah, self-isolation is the best way to cure corona and avoid, let me just, to cure corona, and let me just leave it like this. So, and after this, you remember my paragraph, right? P. So I can just use this less than P, create paragraph. So I'll just give some random text. Let me just say Lauren, I have some text, or let me just reduce this so that you guys can see. And you see some of my text. So this is what, this is the title of that news, and here is the body of the what, this one. Though I'm sorry, this is just a text, but you can use something like self-isolation, then what, explain that, what does that means. Most in news platforms, something like bbc.com or etc, you will see all this kind of stuff. So now let me just refresh, and I guess we are done with this one. So now let's move on to formatting. How can we format HTML elements? You have some familiarity with something like Microsoft Word, where you can create, let me just open my Microsoft Word. Let me put some random text. You have some familiarity with this one, so you don't have problem. You are going to be having problem using HTML. So you can highlight text, you know, its font size, its font family, etc. You can do something like this paragraphing, justify it, so etc. So what this formatting does is you can do something like bold, italic, you can even underline. But it is the same thing with HTML. Let me just give an example. Let me just close this one. Let me say H2O. So we don't have a way to put these two below. You can just use something like this. So in HTML you have all this kind of stuff. So actually you can do that as well in HTML. So let me just start with bold. Let me say I have a text in this paragraph and it says hello, and I have opened it. So and you want to underline this hello. All you have to do is put it in what, in this B, in this B element or B tag. This means bold. You see it will be what, this H is what is more bold or bolder. So let me say this word again. You want to give it something like, you know, underline. You can just use the U and what, underline it. You see. So now let me say we want a formula for gravitational force, right? I don't know, it's 6.67 times 10 raised to power minus 11, right? 6.67 times 10 raised to power what, minus 11. So we don't know how to write this minus 11 at the top. So there's what you call superscript. So you can just use SUP and put that minus 11. As you can see, it's what at the top. And when we want to put the formula for water, the chemical formula for water, I guess is H2O, right? It's H2O, right? But we don't know how to put these two below. You can just use what, superscript. Oh no, I'm sorry, subscript. What do we call the subscript? So let me just paste that too, and you see this is what it is below. So that is the basic, and we can do something like italic. Let me just say P and say I. So inside this I, you specify the text that you want it to be italic. Let me just say hello and world. You see this hello is what is italic. This is just what, the basic. And we have another one called the mark. So let me just put my P tag. Let's say you want to search something on the search bar. For example, on WhatsApp, when you search it, it will going to be highlighted using, let's say, a yellow text. Let me just write this hello world. So you search for this hello. Let's say, for example, you search for this hello. It's going to be shown using this, you know, this background yellow. So that's how it works. This is just the basic for formatting HTML. So now let's move on to the next chapter, which is comments. So a lot of times beginners might think it's just Facebook comments or other things, but actually it is not. Hopefully for me, the first time I heard about it, I think it was comment, but it is not. Another time when you are working with multiple files, you want to comment your code for other people to understand what you are trying to do over there or over that place. Let me just give an example with, let's say, that P paragraph and that text. So, and you want to tell other people what you are trying to do here, you can just put a comment. And the way you write comment in HTML is less than, and this negation operator, then colon. As you can see, it just changed to black. So even comments, you have to close them. Then this hyphen, I don't know what the heck is the name of that thing. So you can just say, I printed a text. I printed a text. Oops. So you can see it is going to be ignored by the browser. That's how they work. Or you are just creating something and you don't want to show it, or you are debugging your code and you don't want that thing to show. You want to find an error. You can just come over somewhere and comment it. Oops. Let me just delete this thing. Let's say you don't want this thing to show up. So I don't understand this language. Let me just try with this lorem. As you can see it over here, right? So you can just comment it. Say less than negation operator hyphen this one. Then you grab this text and put it over here. And you can, as you can see, it is what it is ignored by the browser. So almost any language or all the languages have their own way of what putting down comment. As we move on, you will get to understand what I mean. But for HTML, I don't think comment as something, but maybe something like JavaScript. Now let's move on to links. Yeah, let's move on to links. So some people might think that to create link in HTML is just using the link tag. Yeah, right? Oops. Yeah, it's just using the link tag. But actually it is not. That's what we call anchor tag. We use that tag to create HTML links. It starts with something like A. This A just means anchor tag. Then href. This href, I guess, means hypertext reference. We put the target link that we want to go when you hit that link. And here is the name of the link. Let's see, go to login. Yeah, and close it. That's all. Now you see go to login. But when you click it, it's not going anywhere. We see something like go and register by, go and do this, go and do this. So we use this anchor tag to create those links. And for your own information, even this one is an attribute. That's why I've told you before. As we move on, you will get to know what attributes are. Here is the name of the attribute, and here is the value where we put that value. So let me create another file and link it to that place. So yeah, let me just say and save it as, let's say, login, right? Login.html. So let's say here is login. I'll just put the boilerplate of the HTML. So let's say login. I open it in the browser. As you can see, it's login. So in order to create in order to link this login to this HTML, all you have to do is what, put this login.html as the what, as the target link to. Yeah, oh sorry. So you see when I click it, it takes me to this place, and in this login page I can put something like, again, go to home. So oops, I could go to home over there, I'm sorry. So you can just say A and say, as you can see over here, is what, index.html. Index.html. You should try and understand this, because when you start creating the project using navigation box, we use a lot of links. So I want you to get everything. So I can say home, something like home, right? So when you click home, it's going to take you to here. And we have another attribute that we use on HTML anchor tag, something like target. What this does is, let me just give you an example. Let's say as I hit this go to login, it opens what, right in the same tab, but I don't want it to open in that same tab. I want it to open on that tab. So you can just say underscore blank. As I hit this, it will open in what, in another tab. We have other things like self, which is the default one. We have something like parent if you are using an iframe, but you don't have to know all this right now. Just manage this one. So I guess we are done with links. Now let's move on to the next one, which is images. So yeah, it's very possible to use images on HTML. Let me just grab an image. Oops. Let me just grab an image over here. I don't know. Let's open this image and see. Okay, hopefully this is timbaneously the creator of the view. So oops, I suppose carry it over. Okay, so you can see my image is in the folder, as you can see it over here. So let's say I want to put this image in the browser. The way I will do this is not image, it's just img tag. And here we have what? We have another attribute, which this is the src is the name of the attribute, which means source. That means the source of that image. And here we pass the value. And the value is going to be what? The location of that image. So now, since the name of the image is tbl.what.jpg, you have to put the file extension as well. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So let me just refresh. As you can see, here's the image. So you can add other things, something like height, width, etc. But for now, let me just give you maybe the height and width. 40, let's say 40. You see how small it is? I can just give it percentage. This is just a CSS unit. When you reach there, you'll get to know what the fuck it is. Then the other one is going to be height. So if you specify this 40% for the width, automatically the browser is going to give 40% to the height. Otherwise, if you specify it, so the browser is going to give that height for that image. Oops, I don't know how the heck is not right. Let me just use pixel. So you see it's working. So that's all for image. And another thing, that you can use image as a link. As you can see from the project that I have created, I use the logo as the link to the home page. So let's try and do that. I can just do a. Oops, I'm going to embed the image on that a. So let's say this login is the target, right? It's going to be the target login.html. Oops, what the heck is that? So login.html, and inside I'm going to embed that, yeah, that tbl, right? So let me just grab this text. Oops, what the heck is that? I don't know. Okay, so it is inside. So this image now is going to look like a link. You see, as I hover over it, the cursor is changing like a pointer. So it's working right now. So that's all. That's the basic for images. As we move on, I'm going to show you how to work with file paths. Let's say you don't want to put this image at the root directory. You want to include another image from different directory. Let's say from another folder. I'm going to show you that one. Don't worry, maybe in the upcoming chapters. So now the next thing is going to be tables. So I guess they are the hardest thing in HTML, but you don't have to worry yourself. They are simple, so simple. HTML tables. So in order to create HTML, as I've told you before, HTML is what is self-descriptive. We just use the word table tag. But now, as I open the browser, nothing is shown. So if you work with something like Microsoft packages, something like Microsoft Excel, you know it consists of what? Rows and columns where you input data. Let me just try and open it to show you how it works. Maybe we'll get to remember an imagination of how it is. Here just a blank. As you can see, here is the rows and here is the column. That's actually how tables in HTML works. Let me just open it, or something like database. When you come to that, you'll get to understand what the fuck it is. So I'll create table row. This is just a row. You understand? The row horizontally, and column works vertically, right? So I'll just open it. What this tr means, table row. I have explained it. I have just said it. So td. And this td just means table data. So I can just say SN. That's serial number. You can see your SN number here. So I can move on again. Here I want to define the columns, the column names. Oops, this is not my favorite text editor. I'm sorry for the bunch of errors. So I can just say first name, something like first name. Oops. So you see first name over here. I can add another one, something like, let's say, salary, and that's all. Salary. Oh, let me add another one, something like TD. Oops. Yeah, TD, something like last name. So you see, but you will be, thinking that why the fuck is it not giving all these borders, spacing and etc. So all you have to do is just come to the parent element. I'm sorry, I did not explain that. It is so simple. This table is the parent element for this table row. Why? Because this table row is embedded in this table, and this table row is what is the child of this table, and here are the siblings. When you get to CSS, you'll know what they are. So in this table, I'm going to specify another attribute, and I'm going to call it border and give it 1. Let me just open it. You see they are inside that border. So there's another thing that we call caption. You can just put caption to name what a table means. When you are working with textbooks, let's say in primary or secondary, you will see if you go 2 point something, if you go 3 point explaining a paragraph explaining what an image means or what a table means. So I'll just use that caption tag and say something like, employees table, since there's something like their names and salaries, right? So how do they spell this? Employees table. You don't have to care about my spelling actually. So you see it is at the top. So that's what this caption does. So let me create another row below this one. So how do you think it's going to work? Let me just copy this thing. I don't want to waste a lot of time. So just paste it. So under this tr, let me just give it 1. And for the first name, let me just give it something like Mike. And for the last name, let me just give it something like that. And for his own salary, let's say $500,000. Yeah. Oops. Was it 500,000 or something like that? So I don't know. $500,000. You see it's over there. So that is the basic for table. What this does, this table will create any row, and this TD create a table data. It goes in the same column. This one is under what this SM. Now let me create another user for you to understand what it means. Oops, I'm sorry. So again, let's say number 2, passing number 2. Let me say something like Muhammad Sulaiman. Actually, the name doesn't matter. So let's say $900K. So that is how table works. Now imagine if you wanna expand the width or the height of the table, or padding, or you wanna give space with these columns. All you have to do is come over here, something like cell padding. Let's say 20. You see how big it is? Cell spacing. The padding, that means the space between the border and that data or that text inside that row or that field. So let's say something like cell spacing. That means this space between those cells. Let me just give it 5. You see how it. So now let's move on to the next chapter, which is going to be lists. So we use list, or we use HTML list to list items, and we have 3 ways to list items or organize items in HTML. But I'm going to explain 2 over here. We have the unordered list, which is the UL, ordered list, which is the OL, and data list. But I'm not going to be showing the ordered list, which is the latest version for now, but you don't have to know all this kind of stuff. So the way we do it is that for the unordered list, right, UL _. You see nothing pops up. So we are going to use another tag embedded inside that UL called the list item. This li just means the list item, and I can just call some things name. That's a name. Well, let me just use something like, let's say HTML. So let me just try and duplicate this line. I don't know why I thought it is doing this kind of thing. So let's say we have something like PHP, something like JS, yeah, that's JavaScript, something like SQL. You see we have listed them, and you see the way we listed them, we have a disk, I guess a disk over here. But if you don't want that disk, you can specify a type over here. Let's say square. I guess that's how it is written. You see square, and you can even specify none if you don't want each. You see none. Right. So now let's move on to the ordered list. I'll just change this tag because I don't want to be typing all the time. And let me just remove this attribute. That's how they work, and they use the same thing. That is the li. So as you can see, the ordered list, it is what the items are ordered. You see they are ordered numerically, something from 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can just say something like type, I guess. You can just say small letter A, and they are going to be what? They are going to be arranged alphabetically. As you can see over here, I use small letter A. If I use capital letter A, it's going to be what? It's going to be capital letters. And there's a way you can put your start. Let's say start, and let's say Q. I want to start from Q. Oops, this one, I guess it works with only with numbers. So let me say numbers. I don't know what to, let's say 5. You see it started from 5, 6, 7. So this is just the basic of what of the ordered list. That is all for list items in HTML, and we can use this kind of thing to create navigation links, and inside that li elements to put our anchor tags. Then file paths, as I've told you before during working with images, I said there's a way you can insert images from different folders. So let me just try and put this picture again, TBL, or this image, whatever, I don't care. So oops, what the heck is that? Oh, I use A, I don't know, I'm just used to this. I just logged it up. Okay, or something like img, then tbl.jpg. You see, so let's say I want to carry another picture from different folder. Let me just give an example with this school. Oops, let me just give an example with another folder. Let's see, this folder, and I want to carry this picture, this car picture. I want to carry this picture to this page, and I don't know how to do it. So what you should do is, let's say you create this image tag. All you have to do is what? You use this dot, you put on 2 dots and a back and a /. What this does is what? It goes out of the folder. It goes back out of, it just goes out of the folder. So now our folder is what? Is at the desktop. So since we are out of the folder, now we are what? We are in the directory of what? Of the desktop. And we want to target which folder? We want to target this folder, this item file. Then let's copy the link and put it over there. After that folder, what are we looking for? We are looking for that image car.jpg. So now it should work. I just open another tab. So as you can see, my car is over here. That's how file paths work. You can as well this work together or the same with links. Now let me just put another link, and I don't want to reference this link. I want to reference another link. Let me just give an example with this project that I've created, the final project, and I want to reference it to this pricing section. All I have to do is go out with this double dots and /. Then let me just copy the folder name, which is this one, HTML final project. Then followed by that pricing.html, and I guess that's all. So oops, I did not name my link. Let's say call it price. Let's just call it price. So you see this price over here, and when you click it, it's going to take you over there. So that is just the basic of working with file paths to navigate from different paths. Now the next one is going to be symbols. When you open different kind of sites and you go to their footer or something in the payment section, you'll be showing something like ANSI, ANR, something like trademark, copyright, etc. So let me just create one so I understand what I'm trying to say. Let's say I want to create ANSI, something like this. You see something like C at 2020, something like this, and you'll be wondering how it is created, but though this is just sample. So you can do something with this AND operator. Just click or hit the shift button plus the number 7 on your keyboard. I don't know for MacBook, so just copy and open. You see the C embedded in a circle. The same thing with trademark. You can just say and trade. Oops, it's $8. I'm sorry, PHP caused a problem actually. Oops. So I guess I have you see the thing, right? I have to be using semicolons to end that statement. You see TM, and the next one should be an euro for euros, right? Something like for dollars. So there are hundreds of them. This is just an example. You can just use something like an LT. What this does is it brings out the less than for HTML. Let's say you want to create a learning platform for coding, and if you use less than, another less than, it's going to be it's going to confuse you. So you can just use something like this, an LT and GT. I guess and GT, right? And GT, close it. You see the closing, something like /. So that's all for symbols. If you wanna know much about it, you can just search it online. Since this is just this is just a crash course. Yeah, I'm not going to be explaining everything over here actually, just want to save some time. So now the last and my favorite one is going to be what HTML forms, which is what is the primary key to most of the platforms that dominated the world right now. So let's try and work with forms. So I'm not going to be using this one actually. Let me just create another file and call it register. Oops, I'm sorry. Just hit the Control N. If you have basic computer operation, I guess you can do that. So let me just say register.html, and when you hit that, let me just bring out the boilerplate. So I want to register student over here, or employees, or whatever. I don't know what you are going to create in your site about. So let me just put a link, though you don't have to do that actually. So register.html. Oops, I have to name it. I can just say so register here. You see that register, when you click that link, it's going to take you over here. So let me just leave it. So as I've been saying times without number, that HTML is what is self-descriptive. To create a form, all you have to do is what using the form tag. And form has a lot of attributes. A lot of attributes that you are going to be just from the parent element. Well, let's try and create something. But before we move on, let me just list some things using HTML comments, because I don't want it to, give problems to my this thing. So when you go to different sites, when you want to create an account, what do they usually ask about? They ask about something like username, I guess something like password, okay, something like gender, something like country, something like select something, select your favorite something, or select country, or let me just leave it like that. There are a lot of things. These days you can even switch from night to dark mode using just switch, something like on Twitter or Messenger. You can just switch. So I don't mean that's what they are using, but I just want to try to explain so that you guys should understand it. But let me just try and put it into practice so that you should understand it as well. So there's what we call input tag. Input tag. So it has two attributes, though this is just the basic one, the type attribute and the name. You don't have to care about this one for now. We use it for the server side. So this type, we have a lot of things that we can put onto this type, but the most used one is the text. That means we are asking for text from the user. Now let's say they say type your username. You can just type your username. You see this input tag give us what an input, and as you can see, this input doesn't have a closing tag, and as well as anchor tags, that is the image tag. So all these tags that don't have a closing tag are called what? Void elements, or what? Empty elements. But I prefer to call them void element. Also, I'm sorry, anchor tag has closing this thing. I want to say the image tag. You see, there is nothing like what? A closing tag. So that's all. And you can even put a label. What this does is what it explains what the input is all about. Let's see, first name. Something like first name. You see the first name over here, right? So there's another attribute that we call placeholder. This placeholder again explains what should be what typed inside the input. So let me just say what enter first name. So you see enter first name. Then right away as you start typing, what is going to disappear. The recommended way is what? Using the label. So another way for using input is, let's say password. I'm not going to be using this label again after this one. I guess we should just understand what the label does. So for this label, let's see passwords, and under I'll just give an input. So for this input, since it is password, it is not text, the type should be what? The type should be password. So now check it out. When I type, it's going to be what? I'm going to be seeing those dots. How can I even see it? The text is just hidden, so no one can see it. That's what for the password. There's other types that you can put, something like date time, something like checkbox, radio, etc. But let me show you for the radio. So for radio, we have something like when you type your input, you just put radio. and you can put what is called a value, and you say, let's say male. We're asking for a gender, but you see it's not going to be what this value is not going to be shown. Why? Because it's not something like it's input that you are going to be typing something. So the recommended way is using the label and embed that inside that label and say something like gender. You see, we have male. Then another one. Oops. Yeah. Oh, I don't know what the X. Oops. Let me just copy this. That's why I prepared duplicating this. I can just say something like female. My time has gone. I don't know. So, but as you can see, at the center, a person cannot, or a human being cannot be male and female at the center. So what we do is, on this name, you should give it a same, same value, something like gender and gender. You see, you should select either male or female, and that's all for it. So that's all for radio button to create what a single something alone. And the next one is going to be the select, where it's going to show you countries and you should select it. So let me just use the select tag. So to solve the script in this one too, just hit on the enter and use the option. So we use this option for each word, for each select, for each weight value. Now let me just give an example with something like US. You see the select and you see US. Let me just add more countries. Oops. Option. Let's say UK. Let me add another option. Nigeria. You see, you can select your country. We can use this one as a way to select things. And the last one is going to be, or the next one is going to be button. So when you use this input, you can pass something like it's a button. But there's another way to create a button in HTML. So let me just put submit. It can collect two things, something like submit, reset, or button. Or button. So now when I refresh it, when you try putting all this data, you are going to hit the submit button to submit it to the server. So when you hit the submit, you see it's not working. So you have to use something like JavaScript or PHP for it to work. But as I have said, there's another value that you can use, something like reset. Now let's say I have typed things, I have select free, and I hit this red. Everything is going to be reset. So now let me just take this submit, because that is what I'm gonna leave. And you wanna put another thing, not submit. Let's say register. So you can just come here, put value, and say register. You see that register? You can put anything you want. This register is going to be shown. So there's another thing that we can use. I forgot to tell you, but it should be under the form. That is the button. So you can just say click me. This is not part of the form. You see, click when you click. So I guess the difference between this thing, this submit, and this button is that submit submits a data to the server, and button when you click does something like what change from dark, from daylight to night mode. It is just to switch from something when you click it to do to perform a specific task. So I guess that's all for home for forms. And I guess we have almost come to the end of the tutorial. So if you don't want to proceed, you can just end here. And if you have any question, you can just leave it in the comment section or reach me over Twitter, as I have explained all the details in the previous video.